Boom.
Boom. Bam. What's up, everybody? How you doing? It's your man,
Bam.
J Kevin, with my man Leif Taylor here, having
What's up,
our
everybody?
our weekly conversation about all things health, wealth, relationships, happiness, and everything in between. Anything that comes up in your dome is up for a possible topic of conversation. So if you're watching, listening, paying any kind of giving any kind of attention to us, be sure to leave comments and just kind of chime in and see what directions you can take this conversation. But in the meanwhile, we'll be having our conversation, Leif, just talking about today, talking about uh, who's speaking for you. You know, that was a title or a topic that you threw out to me uh, before we got on. Just thinking about and commenting and looking at um, the many voices out there, just because of the platform somebody may have, or because of a position somebody have in our world, in our society. It can give room or rise to being able to have influence and being able to have a voice. And us is just people, just us, just people in general. We have a duty, a responsibility to be aware of the voices that are out in our world, and be aware of what's being said. And we have a duty to see if we resonate with them, and see if they are speaking for us or to us, and just being aware of what's going on. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. And, this is stemming from, you sent me a video clip of, um, T.I., Killer Mike, and David Banner,
Yep.
um, who were having a talk. And it was just interesting to see how, because of somebody's uh, platform that they built in one arena, it can carry over. It has the potential. It has it often carries over into other arenas of human activity that gives somebody some influence or power or some authority that may not be, I don't know, what, credible, I guess you could say, or well, how would you
Or
say it?
representative.
Representative. Okay. So, when we were talking about that, when we were having that conversation, just made me think about how important it is to make sure that we vet the voices that we allow to speak into our lives, and that may in some way, shape, or form uh, have an effect as far as representing us in a larger society or a larger community.
Yeah. So one of the things that made me think about, I think somebody posted it in
Oh, okay.
Coindonomics or something like that, and I was watching some other videos. And well, anyway, we're watching that. Uh, you know, Ti and Killer Mike, they seem to be speaking quite a bit on behalf of, the black community. More power to them. However, I was just thinking, is like, why them, right? And and I just came to the conclusion that they have a platform, and for some reason, it's always a lot of entertainers that represent our community, and it's like, why? Why
Okay.
do we fall for that? It's the same reason that we complain about politicians, about the kind of people that are the politicians, but yet we keep voting for the same kind of people. So, people talk about the 1% and the wealthy and all of this, but when you look at the track record of most politicians, they fall into that same category. It's almost like uh, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to me, right? It,
Huh.
it's just, I don't know. It's just I guess, I don't know if it's just part of, like, a symptom of our, society, of how we're raised, is the fact that we view stuff all the time, that we're consumers, that that we watch. And then, because I remember years ago, actors and entertainers, well, actually it was before my time, they were like of little value, right? They had zero value in society. They were like, the lower
Yeah.
tier people. And now they're like at the top echelon of society. And it's just weird how that's flipped, I guess, through mass media and social media and those kinds of things, that these people now represent us when, you know, the question is, do they really represent you in the status that they are? And that's kind of the thing that I was just thinking about. I don't have any answers. I was just thinking about it. Just like, you know, it's a good topic. Maybe somebody else can chime in on it.
No, it's very good. It's very interesting. It's a very good topic. And oftentimes, you know, our approach to our conversations is that, you know, hopefully we can uncover and, you know, kind of distill some nuggets that's going to help us in everyday life. But oftentimes, you know, we don't pretend to have the ultimate solution, right? That's one of the benefits, and that's one of the things that is necessary about cultivating conversations. That's one of the things that's happening on the internet right now. You know, everybody's having conversations, and hopefully you can glean something from that. But yeah, I mean, you've said a lot, and now you're hitting on some things that I've been thinking about over the last week, talking about the natural order of things and how there are some things innate in human nature that we're just attracted to. When you brought up entertainers and politicians, and not just them, but often a lot of times people who procure influential and key areas of influence and arenas in our world. A lot of people like that have charisma, and you were making me think about a lot of times we as people flock to people who have charisma, whether they be a good person or a bad person or, you know, everything in between. If somebody has charisma and somebody's able to present themselves well and able to project themselves well, then they're able to garner influence. And that's one of the things that we have to be mindful of and careful of when we do listen to voices, and when we do look at who is speaking up, claiming to speak up for you and me, right? So, you know, just one of the things that we have to be mindful of. Okay, this person is a charismatic person. They're able to attract, and they're able to gain attention. But what is it that's going to keep me? What are they saying, and what is it that's going to keep me there? Do they have anything of substance? So, man, then when you were talking about you know, you brought up the 1%ers and people like the politician class, the political class. You were making me think of Pluto. I think not Pluto. Plato. My bad. Okay. You were making me think of Plato, and I was thinking one of his writings, and just thinking about how not only him, but he's just coming to my mind right now. Just thinking about how the natural organizing society is that you often do have where you have like a smaller class at the top, and then you have a larger class at the bottom that is influenced and led and steered by the smaller class at the top because of maybe one charisma, or maybe another just power, maybe one just born into that position. For whatever reason, you do have a smaller class steering the larger class of people. What does Shahi say? Yeah, the new look brought me in. What's up? So yeah, man, I had to do it. I got hot one day this week with the heat, and I just like, you know what?
Oh no, did that keep going?
It's hair; it'll grow back, right? So that 2-year journey came to an abrupt end the other day.
It was like me when I was in I guess I was a vegetarian all through high school, and then when I got in college, it was like my second semester, like my second year in college. I was like, well, I'm gonna just eat a burger.
No.
Yeah, it was like, wow. I was like, I just want to eat a burger. That was it. So yeah, I understand. It's like me and my 365 days of push-ups. I got the day 286, and I was like, I'm done.
I'm done.
So, but yeah, anyway, getting back to the subject at hand, I don't know, because again, as you were talking, I was just, you know, it just made me start to think and wonder if people, I don't know if it's like based on certain societies or all societies, because I've only lived in one, right?
Right.
In terms of people always looking for somebody else to be the cure for their ills. Go ahead.
Well, again, again, it goes back or it alludes to that. I think that societally speaking, we're humans. We're built this way, and that we are naturally attracted to someone, who for whatever reason, rhyme or reason, we think can help bring solutions, good, bad, or whatever. It's just something that's innate in us to be attracted to um, alpha alpha people, chiefs.
Right.
No matter how we organize our society, it always comes down to, there's a chief, there's a ruling class, or a small steering class, and then there's everybody else, the Indians.
Don't
The
call them Indians. That's,
I
that's wrong,
don't
Kevin.
everybody can't be chief. So I think it's just something that's innate or natural about the human condition.
Hmm. Very interesting. I mean, like I said, I'm not looking for answers. I'm just
Yeah,
throwing
we
out
just we just
questions.
going back. We just
Yeah.
going back and forth.
Everybody
Just
else chime in as well. What makes people look to others to do things. Um, yeah.
um.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say from a while back I was researching this from a just a natural what perspective of in that um somebody who oh man, I forgot. There are people who are like grandfather clocks that set the tone for other people around them. There are people who are naturally have a charisma about them, naturally have something about them that when they walk in a room, uh, subconsciously other people will attune and set themselves to that person. So it's just something natural. It's just built in us to always be attuning to someone who is more charismatic or more. I'm using that word, but I can't think of any of the words right now. Who is I don't know. They have a stronger frequency that sets the tone for everybody else. I mean, even in your own house, even in your house, whoever you can, you set the tone for your house. You does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, trust me. I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
So, because I always ask these questions, because again, for me, my answer for a lot of stuff is going to be coming down to marketing and psychology and those kinds of things,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
terms of why people do what they do, and it's just I don't know, it's just weird. So, for example, I talk about this often with my wife, um, just how anomalies, like what you're talking about, like in terms of the charismatic person, it's like the anomaly, right? Of normal behavior. And that anomaly, like you look at preachers, they do it, right? You look at in the black church specifically, I can speak on in black churches, not all of them. Uh,
Right.
you know, they'll it might not even be their normal demeanor, but when they preach, they amp up their voice, the
Yeah.
whole the psychology of presentation and the
Yeah.
cadence and all of those
Yeah.
kinds of things. And it's like, why does that work if you know what's being done? That's what always kind of throws me off with everything. It's like
That's the
I know the tricks. I know that is doing, but why do we even fall for it sometimes, even knowing the tricks?
well, I was going to say it's not a trick in that it's a principle. It's a principle that even it's happening. It's built in to where when it happens, you just go with it. It's built in us to just go with it. Like with music, when good music comes on, your feet you just start moving to it. Your feet, you don't have to think about it. You just
That's only
start.
true for some people because I've seen people do nothing around.
But,
I've
but
been in the startup world.
yeah,
A lot of them cats don't move at all.
right. But even that, even at a physiological level, you're still respond. Even though you may not outwardly express it,
Yeah.
your your body is still responding to the frequency of whatever that music is at, whatever it's putting out. You're still uh, responding to it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I wanted to read this poem before I forget. It's not a poem. You've heard it before. It's about responsibility, because this is another reason why I titled it "You." I was just like, just all the different things. So, and the reason why I thought about this, it has to do with the video that I sent, and the video I'm talking about. It was Killer Mike, T.I., and David Banner. They were at Complex. The magazine had like a show. This was back in last year, 2019. And anyway, they were just talking about, I still don't understand the purpose of them talking, to be honest. But we were just talking about, I don't know what they were talking about, to be honest.
It's kind of the same thing what we do.
Yeah. I don't know what their purpose was. They were talking about growing up, and they were talking about gentrification, but it was weird. Like I didn't get to the end of it before we got on live. But anyway, Tip kept talking about, when we was growing up, we used to sell drugs and do all of this, and now it's being gentrified. And I'm like, is that better? Like, it's like the stuff you're mentioning that's happening is not great. So I don't know. It was just weird. Shahi said Hitler had a lot of charisma. He also had solutions for Germany. That's from the dark side of history. There's a lot of truth to that statement. Yeah, I definitely understand charisma. I understand being energetic, charismatic, and all of those kinds of things. And in business, you utilize that a lot when you're going to talk to people like me. Like, this is my normal. Like, normally I just don't talk unless I'm talking to my family, because I'm usually working. Or if I'm talking to somebody online, it usually has to do with an objective. I rarely just have a conversation that doesn't have an objective attached to it.
Right.
That's just me. It's like open world games. I hate them. There's no objective to them. I can't play them.
Just survive.
It just makes no sense to me. But anyway, so that's the kind of conversation I have. But anyway, I know for a fact that it can be turned on and off. But even when you're the one that's doing it, at least I can speak for myself. I still wonder, why does this even matter? It's like, for example, the whole facade of things, right? To me, everything is a facade, in the sense of we like the pretty building, even though we know it's a prison inside. If it's still the architectural marvel, we'll marvel at the architecture, negating the criminality that's inside of it. And
we can't help it.
Go ahead.
So we can't help it. We can't help it. We're attracted to beauty.
You can't. I can't say we can't help it. I can't say that, because I know for myself some things that, because sometimes you know too much, and it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I don't know. I can't say, I can't say. I don't know. I have to think about that. Anyway. So anyway, so the reason why I want to read this, I was actually thinking about, there were some videos in Coinda today, and Lamar made a post which made me think about it as well. And so everybody was like, yeah, let's get back to the old times of Coinda, when we first started, those kinds of things. And this kind of made me think some more about, and I saw his post after that, after I was watching the video with T.I. and everybody, and I was just thinking, why is it that we're always looking, for the documentary Superman is not coming, or waiting on Superman or something like that? I just can't grasp it, and I don't know why I can't grasp it. Anyway, I'm gonna read this story. You've heard it plenty of times. Anybody listening has probably heard it. I just wanted to read it again, just to give a premise to what I'm thinking. Okay, so this is a story about 4 people named Everybody, Somebody, Anybody, and Nobody. Have you heard this before? Of course. There was an important job to be done, and everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody could do it, but nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have. So in other words, everybody's looking for somebody else to do something, as opposed to just taking the initiative and just doing it. And that's one of the things that I was thinking about. And this is not for this doesn't apply to everything, but for a
Yeah.
lot of things, you see this in terms of group dynamics, in everybody waiting for, like, I'll give you a real world example. Bill Strickland, Manchester Center for Learning, I want to say is what it's called, is in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. It's in one of those places. I can't remember. Anyway, what he does is he runs a center, and in the center, they have state of the art everything, and it's in the middle of the quote unquote hood, right? And they've been able to do some things that nobody has been able to do before in that area, in terms of education, in terms of increasing the value of the community around them, in terms of educating the people to offer them jobs, and just they've done phenomenal things. They've won Grammys out of their studios that they built, and they keep growing based off of this simple structure. But anyway, when he came and gave a talk in Lexington, he was saying just something as simple as, he said there was a vase in the hallway that was obstructing people's walkway, but people wanted to have a committee meeting about the vase being in the way, and he was just like, just move it.
Just move it.
Yeah, just move it. And so when I think about that, and I think about some of the things about Coinda and things, just the group, the growth of the group, just the dynamics of the group as a whole. And the goal initially was to get everybody to do whatever it is that they wanted. Right. It was like literally build a community. And what happens is when you start doing something, people expect you to keep doing it and not them. Does that make sense? So they're talking about like going on lives and things like that. And I think you froze. And so it's like, it's I don't know. Everybody's looking for the same thing to keep happening. There you are. You back. You froze for a second. And so everybody's like looking for the same energy, the same, schedule of things to occur to get the energy back in the group. And it's like, go for it. Do it. Instead of waiting on any particular person, if you see something that is needed, then supply it, right? And so that's kind of the thing that I was thinking about in terms of reading the poem or whatever that's called, a little short writing. Shahid said, "A sense of entitlement." Yeah, Kev, you back, Kev? Okay, there you are. Yeah. So I don't even know if it's a sense of entitlement. I don't know exactly what it is. I think it's just the nature of social media. It's the nature of platforms, period. You get used to being the recipient of information. For example, Two Shy Guys, right? Kevin and I are up talking, and it's like, we're laying out a plan to, like, okay, from here on out, the members of the Two Shy Guys group, they'll start doing the lives and things like that. Whereas people get in the habit of watching us do it, they don't necessarily take on themselves to do it. So I think I don't know. I think you get comforted by the current schedule. So any anomaly in that schedule just throws everything off. I don't know. Would definitely love to hear your feedback on what you guys think about that. And also just thinking about the political climate that we're in. We're always talking about politicians. We're talking about everybody doing everything. I'm thankful for the protests that have occurred. Of course, there's a lot of shenanigans that have happened throughout the protests in terms of other groups trying to usurp authority over the Black Lives Movement and things like that. But at least people are taking initiative to step out. And in some instances, you have people trying to use charisma to take over the movement and what it means or what it represents. And this is in each individual city, not necessarily as a whole. And maybe it is as a whole. I'm not aware, but I know I've seen some instances in some cities where individuals try to become the voice of the movement. And I always side eye people when they try to come out of nowhere to be something. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, that's what I was thinking. Okay. Shaheed said that's what's great about the group. You can see if you see a good, fill it, and if you don't, oh yeah, if you see a need, fill it, and if you don't have the capacity to do so, collaborate. Yeah, that's definitely true. See, my man Kev's back. That's definitely true, Shaheed, and that's the hope. Um, because again, people are so looking for. I don't know. They like to follow a cause, but they don't necessarily want to start a cause. And I understand that there's different types of people. There's different types of roles. I get that. And I know like when very early on I was an entrepreneur. The goal was to get as many people to become entrepreneurs as possible. And over doing it for so many years, you realize it ain't for everybody.
Right.
It's not.
Everybody's not.
Everybody's not built for it. Everybody's not made for it. They could possibly be cultivated for it. However, in different capacities, it requires a different kind of temperament that some people aren't or will never be comfortable with, and so they never do. So I understand that, and even though I understand that there's different roles and different dynamics, it still baffles me. It still boggles my mind in a sense of I don't know. I'm just rambling. So what are your thoughts, Kev? I know you're back. So
Yeah, about what you just said.
what'd you say?
Yeah, about what you just said.
Yeah. Just about just the dynamics of people waiting for somebody else to do something instead of taking the initiative themselves.
Well, I mean, that's again, it goes back. To me, that's just the way. It's just one of those principles or one of those laws when it comes to group dynamics, and that you'll have patterns that just automatically just play out and show up. You exemplified it very well. You said over the years you've noticed that everybody's not built for entrepreneurship, but anybody can be taken, taught, and trained. But then there are some who just naturally go that way and can excel. Some are, it goes back to there are some natural leaders and some who can be trained to be a leader.
Right.
So it like it's just one of those things. It just naturally plays out. I see everything from a sociological perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I always go back to culture and people and principles and things that naturally occur when it comes to
Yeah,
group
and that's one
dynamic.
of and that's why I have the question because I understand the sociological standpoint of it, and even like controlling masses as a whole, is it cultivated in people to do that? Is it cultivated in people
Yeah,
to
it's
like
definitely
to be
cultivated.
followers and
Yeah,
wait? Uh,
yes,
so that's
it,
why I'm asking it. Just thinking about education systems and a whole
yes,
lot of sub infrastructures and those kinds of things that placate. Well, I don't know if that's the right word, and or the best word rather, but placate people into falling into their line, their
yes,
role.
yes. It's definitely cultivated. Um, Too often times to our detriment,
Right.
personally and societal, at a sociological level, corporate level. So yeah, I mean, these are the way I see it is it's just people in groups can be made and molded and manipulated and moved in whatever directions uh, that is desired. So these are natural things in us that are embedded in us, and then they're taken, and for good or bad, they're massaged and they're cultivated and cultured and grown into whatever direction this whoever's in a steering position would like to steer things.
Yeah.
Going back to entertainers and entertainment, it's why it's important. You thinking about design, art. Uh, Thinking about entertainers, people who have those abilities to lead and guide, they're the ones that are bringing out, calling forth, the different aspects of the masses humanity that can either take us in a good direction or a bad direction. So just about any aspect of our humanity can be cultivated. It's just who's doing the cultivating and where is this cultivation leading to? What kind of harvest is being cultivated in us to bring forth? One thread of that is, we often talk about this dystopic movies and stuff. And
Yeah, I was watching
you,
Snowpiercer, so it is.
this is one of the constant conversations that we always have.
Yeah,
And that entertainment, movies is a prime example of cultivating and calling forth a certain direction in which you can take a group of people. So, yeah.
yeah. See, Shahi said, I think what some miss is the fact that they thought the CJ was going to instantly bring them wealth, not considering that they had to build to establish his value.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. He's referring to Coinda, the Black Coin Group, Coindonomics, or Coinda, all the different names. He's referring to when the CJs happened. That's actually when we had our most growth, is when we launched that. People, exchanging freely and those kinds of things, and actually, that's what I think led to so many people joining and looking to get into cryptocurrency was the goal of instant wealth, right? Because during that previous year before Coin took off in 2017, Bitcoin skyrocketed to like $20,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20,000. It was one day that did it, but it brought so many people in, and it's funny. It's like we were selling water by the sea forever, and nobody wanted it. And then out of nowhere, water became valuable. And we're like, what? Like, it was like a weird anomaly seeing so many people attracted to cryptocurrency, and it was at the wrong time, unfortunately, for too many people. But anyway, going back to what he was talking about, I think people were expecting. I don't know. I can't speak for people's expectations, but what I can speak for is, or speak on rather, is just the fact that it's not enough to expect somebody else to improve your life for you.
Okay.
It's almost like we look at life as a game show sometimes. I've been guilty of it in the past, but as I've gotten older, I just abandoned that whole mindset of somebody's gonna save me from my troubles. And it's like, okay, I see the world for what I know of what it is. I don't know I don't know what happens behind closed doors because I don't have X-ray vision.
Right.
But I see things. I've witnessed a lot of things. I see how a lot of things work, and I'm not waiting for any one leader of any kind to make my life better outside of a Messiah coming. And so, and even that is still up to me whether to do what I need to do. And so I don't look at life in that vein that it's just like people's wanting to be associated with wealthy people, right? A lot of people that based off of their actions, and you can read intentions based off of people's actions. It's like they expect them to give them money just for being around, and that's not how it works. They want proximity to somebody rich, as if that will change their status and make them wealthy, as opposed to being around them to learn information that can make you wealthy. Right? There's a different mindset. And so yeah, we have to be careful of that, of waiting and wanting somebody to do something for us that we're not doing ourselves.
Okay.
Because you'll become stagnant and you'll just die waiting.
You'll wither away. Yeah.
You'll just wither away waiting, and it's like that's not how stuff happens. It doesn't even happen like that in fairy tales. Fairy tales, there's the hero's journey, right? And so, I don't know. I guess people expect a lottery style scenario where, instantly their troubles have gone away. And with that in mind, you see a lot of people lose a lot of money too.
A lot of money, a lot of hope.
Yeah, because they'll throw money at something thinking that that's going to answer their questions or answer their dreams. And it's like, that's not how stuff works, investment or anything, unless you just literally get lucky. And those are like almost a moonshot of hope, right? To where this stuff only happens once
Once,
every
yeah.
100,000 lifetime, for somebody else, right? So you can't bank on that. So
Well, in closing, you're bringing up, I guess we want to leave off on that note
yeah,
about the importance of cultivating your inner person, and cultivating inner contentment, so that we're not looking outward for somebody to come by and pay our bills for us, or save us, I guess you could say. Um, just the I'm talking at a practical sense. Does that make sense?
I get you.
Okay. Okay. And just the importance of taking care of yourself, taking ownership of your life, um, and being productive, cultivating your inner vision, and knowing what really brings contentment and happiness to you, and going after it, and not waiting on someone else to believe in your vision or what you have inside before you act on it. Just being, having enough courage to at least take the step to kind of enact and bring about some things in your own life, and not depending on the voices that profess to speak for you or represent you. you know Pay them a little attention, but not all of your attention.
Yeah, and
Kinda,
that's not to
yeah.
say you won't glean some good information.
Oh,
Uh,
exactly.
and really, the key thing is, your tolerance of time. And I'll say that your tolerance of time in terms of, not being impatient, right?
Yeah.
The scriptures say, with patience possess ye your soul.
Yeah.
And what what I've seen some do, not everybody, but what I've seen some do is, they want to speed things along and make things happen in a hurry, and it doesn't work that way. You either have wealth or you have effort and collaboration. And so if you don't have the first one, then you got to wait on the second one, and that takes time. Wealth is the quickest way to multiply your time, because you can pay other people to do it. And so you just stay patient, and for a lot of stuff, that some things that I don't know if people understand, it's like, if I'll use we go to a church called the House of God, and they had a theme one year, like building. It was about building. I can't even remember. It was about building. But what people fail to realize, Shahid mentioned tools and hammers and nails, is building takes time. So the enthusiasm to start the building is gonna wane because you're building. It's like, that says like, okay, you're in the process of building, so you can't do the entertaining stuff because you have to do the work. And that's why it's important that if you see a need in any given scenario, and this is in your life, throughout the lives of others, then if you see a need, then you fulfill the need. You step in if you have the means, or you help somebody get the need fulfilled. Um, and so it's still not a matter of waiting. Uh, it's a matter of being patient and working while you wait. Instead
Okay.
of waiting for the work to be done, you work while you wait to get
Be
the
of
work.
service.
Yeah, because stuff just takes time, especially when
Yeah.
you're trying to go somewhere or do something that you've never done before. If it's of any significance in your life, it's going to take time.
Okay.
If it's not of significance, then the time is probably a relative, not relative at all, and it's like, who cares? So anyway, just work. Just put in the effort, put in the time, and just understand it's going to take time, and you'll slowly see the fruits of your labor, but maybe not. And you just have to believe in the system. You have to believe in the effort and believe in the principles. Otherwise,
You got nothing.
yeah, you'll stop. You'll
Yeah.
just give up. That's why, and that's the one thing I've learned over time. I know I'm rambling, but I'll stop. But one thing I've learned over time is, when you like read books or listen to books or whatever, and people talk about find something that you have a deep love for, the reason why they say that is because you're going to go through a time of nothing. It's going to feel like nothing. you'll go through years of nothing until you get to the other end where you start reaping the reward. But before that, you won't get the thing that you want during that time. So if you don't have the love, if you don't have the passion, you will fall away. That's the reason why they say find something that you love that you would do if you never made money.
Yep.
Because if you want to make a whole lot of change, then you're gonna go through a whole lot of nothing. So that's it. That's all I got.
Period. Facts. But yeah, two shy guys in the mic, J. Kev and Leif Taylor, just having a conversation,
Yeah,
transparent, talking about all things tonight. Just talking about you and what all whatever and what all that entails.
Yep.
So thanks for joining us. We definitely appreciate the time and attention that you give us and spend with us. And we hope that your return is more than what you gave.
Yep. And
Peace
also,
out.
we love you. Peace, people.